Hello, students and families of Galena Park High School. This is Mrs. Tenalia, your academic advisor. Today, I want to talk to you about scholarshiping strategically, in particular, looking at local scholarships. Scholarships come from different sources, private, institutional, and local. But today, I want to focus on local scholarships. The prime time for these scholarships is January through April of your senior year. Local scholarships come from local sources, so banks, credit unions, the Rotary Club, churches, any school affiliated organizations. The pro to these local scholarships is that these are the easiest applications to fill out, and many of the elements can be recycled. The con is that these are smaller awards, but remember that the local scholarships can be stacked up. You can get multiple local scholarships. Our approach is to find them near the end of senior year and on the Galena Park ISD scholarship calendar. You can also find more by checking with any local sources, asking your neighbors, looking at community organizations in the area. One good strategy in order to make sure that you keep track of your scholarships is to have a scholarship tracker. So I have a scholarship tracker here at bit.ly/GP scholarships. So when you go to this page, it'll ask you to make a copy of the document. I've put a lot of the scholarships here for your convenience. And so you'll be able to see the name of the scholarship, the award, the due date, and then any special website link. So, for example, if you were to click on it, you could go to that scholarship and then you would be able to see the application in full. There's notes about what you should do and how you're eligible, as well as essay topics. So, one pro tip here is to color code your essay topics so that you can see which ones have similar topics that you can recycle. You also see columns for essay requirements, resume, transcript, letters of recommendation, and financial aid information. So, feel free to use a copy of this tracker in order to look at the scholarships that you're applying to. And any of the ones that you don't qualify for, you can simply delete from that list. So another place that you can find the local scholarships is through the Galena Park ISD scholarship calendar. This is the most reliable source for finding local scholarships as well as other major institutional and private scholarships. So the way that the calendar works is that there are different tabs here at the bottom for the different months. Local scholarships are highlighted in yellow. So what we can do is we can click on the scholarship name, and then you should be able to see the requirements for that particular scholarships. So it's very important that you meet the eligibility requirements. Otherwise, it's a lot of time that you've spent writing an essay or doing a resume, applying for a scholarship that you don't actually qualify for. So make sure to always look at the official rules. A lot of the local scholarships have a scholarship submission form that you can go ahead and click and open. You'll be able to see that the first page has information, contact information for the student, as well as the scholarship that they want to apply for. A lot of these local scholarships just require one essay, and so you can apply to a lot of the scholarships at the same time. Just make sure that you apply for one that's available to you, right? Look at the specific requirements for eligibility. On the last page, it'll ask you to upload some items. It'll ask you about your parents' information, your future college plans, and then it'll ask you to upload an essay. Make sure that you look at those requirements. This says 2 pages, double space, 12 point Times New Roman font, a similar thing for your resume. And remember that a lot of the scholarship committees are from elementary and middle schools. And so make sure that you put your elementary and middle school on your resume. It'll ask you to upload your transcript, your recommendation letters, as well as information from your financial aid applications, whether it's FAFSA or TAFSA. Some examples of that are here, but I'll also go more into depth on how you can find those documents. Finally, you sign and then you click submit. So, as you're looking at each of the essay topics, there are some parts of a great essay. What I would say is Google scholarship essay prompts and how to answer them, or scholarship essay examples that actually work. But good essays have these things. They have values. It shows the readers what the student is like and why that student is a person that they want to give money to. Each of these essays also demonstrate vulnerability. It shows that the person is a real person with a real life. You don't you shouldn't feel like you have to share your most tragic story here, but it certainly helps to talk about a challenge that you've overcome. Great essays have insight. They answer new questions and talk about what the student learned or what they're hoping to learn in their future. And of course, all of those things that English teachers tell us about craft, imagery, grammatical rules, the structure of your sentence, that makes a great deal of difference as people read your essay. Make sure that, again, that you're following those formatting guidelines. Look at scholarship examples that won thousands or scholarship essay examples that actually work for some effective essay examples. A lot of these resumes are going to a lot of these scholarship applications are also going to ask for a resume. So, parts of a great resume ensure that contact information is always professional. It's going to detail your educational history and your grade academic record, your GPA, your rank, as well as any accomplishments in your experiences. It's very important to be specific, put in numbers whenever you can, and make sure that it's active. It's showing that you're doing something other than going to meetings for your clubs. And you're going to want to put relevant skills, but you want to always avoid cliches, right? You never want to say that you're detail oriented, but then have a typo somewhere else in your resume. The College Essay Guy has great examples of essays. So if you go to this link here, you'll be able to see how to write a resume for these colleges, for these local scholarships. He also provides resume templates that you can use. If you click on it, you can make a copy of it and then you can change it for yourself as well. So you should be able to go to each of these templates and you can click file and you can make a copy of these documents. It has specific notes about what you should include and how you should include in your essay or in your resume, sorry. Letters of recommendation. So ideally, you should ask a letter of recommendation from someone who knows you really well, someone who's taught you fairly recently, so they know a lot about you and what's going on with you today. Core teachers should be asked before elective teachers, unless, of course, the thing that you want to study has to do with your elective, right? So if you're going into something in fine arts, then it's important to get your band, choir, your dance teacher to write your recommendation. So how do you ask? You should ask in person, one-on-one. Look the person in the face and ask for a letter of recommendation. Your next option is to call them on the phone and ask them for a letter of recommendation. And your very last resort is to email them. Never ever text your recommender a request for a letter of recommendation. You should ask as soon as you know that that scholarship is available. Generally, 3 weeks is a good amount of time to give your recommender to write an excellent letter. Whenever you talk to them, it's important that you kind of give them examples that they can include in the letter of recommendation. So if you go to this how to request a letter of recommendation brag sheet, then you should be able to look at some tips about how to request a letter of recommendation, a sample template for an email that you could write. And then this senior brag sheet kind of shows important information about you, including your college plans, what you plan to do in the future, your academic record, what you learned in their classroom, and what you did in their extracurricular activities. Remember that letters of recommendation are meant to provide a fuller picture of who you are. And so the letter should list more than just what your GPA and what your activities are. It should really talk about who you are as a person. Stories work really well for this kind of recommendation. A lot of the scholarship applications also ask for an unofficial transcript. This can be gained from Skyward. Here are the specific directions so that you can go and find your transcript on Skyward. And then students also sometimes require a student aid report from FAFSA or that financial aid printout that it's shown in the application here that you can see here. This is kind of an old version of it. A newer version looks like this on the FAFSA website. So you can go on studentaid.gov using these directions and then download that document for yourself. So last words, always make your scholarship applications neat. Sometimes they ask you to write an essay and it has to be handwritten and you upload a scan or a picture. So make sure that you take care of that. When you're writing your essays, capitalize your name, capitalize I. Always double check the instructions before the due date. recycle essays, resumes, letters of recommendation. Remember that the same people don't look at every scholarship, right? It's different groups that are selecting each scholarship. So they won't know that you've recycled. Let them know in your essay why you need that scholarship specifically. What are your goals? What are you hoping to achieve? Where are you going to school? What are the goals that you have for your career? Try to communicate a specific vision for your life, right? Why are they giving you the money? And actually apply. That is the number one reason why students do not win money. It's because they just don't turn in the application. So reject senioritis. If you have any other questions, please see me, your academic advisor, Ms. Tenalio. Feel free to email me and drop by the counseling office. And if you want to share any of your documents to be proofread before you submit, you can also share to that email address. Have an excellent day.